So this is part two of my video of like those of you who are interested in getting a law degree, while also being concerned about the future of like how technology is literally rapidly changing this industry. And usually when I speak on it, I'm looking at it from a perspective of like top line revenue of like people who are literally calling and hiring attorneys, even tax accountants, but that's a whole nother thread for another day. And I don't really talk about accounting on this page, unless it's like tools. And so it's just important for you guys to be aware. So in the last video, I talked about, when you're getting a law degree, etc. I think it's very wise of you all to begin to take like programming courses, whether free online, but also if you're already in college, you're already in school, like why not take a course from some of the best professors in the world at the institution that you're at. The second thing I talked about was, looking at product management courses. So that's something that isn't commonly talked about, but product management is a role where you're basically technically adjacent and you know enough to be dangerous to have conversations and to do cross-functional conversations, which is what many of you attorneys are going to need many attorneys will need this level of thinking, right, and strategy and training, because it's going to be super helpful for you when you think about cross-functional conversations, right? Like an attorney serves as a middleman between two sides of a story, and trying to convince their main stakeholder, right, which is the judge, on whether or not something is right or wrong. I mean, that's obviously if you're doing litigation, there are plenty of attorneys that don't do litigation. But from just like a high level. And so the same thing is basically what a product manager is in the tech field. So product managers serve as the spokesperson on behalf of the customer and the company, right, who's building the product and the person who wants to potentially buy the product. And so I think there's a lot of, not I think, there is a lot of correlation and a really easy way, I think, for many of you to understand more about technology, but maybe you're like, hey, I don't want to be the coder, right, with the real old school Dell laptop like Ariana has right now. But you want to kind of just be that perfect middleman, which is literally your job to be anyway. You don't need to be an expert in what you're, actually, defending to a degree, right? To the level of the expertise of, you understand what I'm saying. And so that's one thing, right? So product management, learning how to code, all that good stuff. But an additional thing I would love to encourage you all in is to also dive deeper into AI, right? And so like, what is an algorithm? How do they function? How does it work? Also I think to even dive deeper, one thing that can be a very important area of study for you all, whether you're in school or not, is thinking from the perspective of user intent, right? The psychology of how and why people are using AI. Like one of the number one use cases right now, I don't know if you know this as an attorney, one of the number one use cases for AI is literally for therapy. And if you go back and look at some of my older videos from like last year, 2025, I have grown adults on some of my viral videos telling me how AI is their best friend. It is their therapist, right? And there's a lot of dangers in that. But anywho, I say this to say, you thinking, right, about the user's initial intent and why people are psychologically engaging with AI the way that they do, this is going to help you in your litigation. It's going to help you in your cases. It's going to help you in all the stuff that you all do because you're an attorney and you know how to do it. But these are the things I want you all kind of thinking about, because again, I think another reason why I'm so passionate about this particular space, as someone who's not an attorney but who is a technology expert, is because it's going to be so ingrained in your job on a day-to-day because of the new types of problems, right? Like, let's think about it. Let's go back in time. So 200 years ago, maybe attorneys were used to sue, I don't know, companies or people who got ran over all the time by the horse and buggy, right? And then law stopped focusing on that industry and started looking at how companies treat their employees and how, companies are being treated because of the new automation of the car, right? So that brings a new set of issues for you all to study and to focus. And now with AI, it opens up an entire world of study. There are going to be new subcategories of law that are just going to blow you all's minds. And I'm particularly interested in that because it also shapes what is possible, not only from, the creator perspective, like me, like I'm a former founder, 3-time tech founder, but also it creates the guardrails of opportunity from a global perspective of what can be innovated, what can be done, and what can't. And so that's why I'm kind of really interested in this and teaching you all as much as I can so that you can be clocking that T. And of course, if I ever need an attorney, of course, hopefully 1,000 of y'all got my back. But I rebuke that in Jesus' name. I'm not going to need an attorney for a bad reason, for a good reason. And I am a believer. But anywho, check out more of my playlist videos. I'm starting to get tired and I'm ranting right now, but check out my other videos. I have over almost 50 videos for you all in the legal tech play list. Share this with your friends. Let me know what you think in the comments, questions, what suggestions do you have for other people. Love y'all. Thanks for listening.